Nigeria has accepted South Africa's apology on the recent violence against foreign nationals in the country.
Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama made the remarks at the opening of the Ministerial Binational Commission in Pretoria earlier today. A delegation of Nigerian and South African ministers are discussing ways to strengthen relations between the two countries.
And we appreciate very much the steps you've taken personally, reaching out to me and expressing regret, and your president sending a special envoy to meet with our president, and again expressing sincere and profound regrets at what has happened. And we're delighted that the two parties have agreed to work together to ensure that this never happens again. And we do look forward to taking concrete measures together to ensure that we do not see a repeat of this. Our president also expressed his profound regrets at some of the retaliatory actions that were taken in Nigeria, and which the law enforcement agencies in Nigeria were very, very quick to douse and address.
All right, and for more on today's meeting, we're joined now in studio by SABC News reporter Manqoba Mchunu. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming through. Firstly, let's just talk about the relationship between the two countries.
Well, of course, Nigeria and South Africa enjoy a long-standing relationship between the countries in terms of trade, in terms of bilateral agreements that they've signed between the two of them. Of course, you'll recall that the two countries have been part of that binationals commission that is taking place, which was established in 1999. And so their trade relations span back to about 2 decades of trade. And of course, they've had cooperations in various areas, including defense, including peace and security, trade, as well as other facets of government. But of course, these relations, we've seen a strain on it in previous years due to several issues that have come up. The first one being the issue of MTN in Nigeria that was fined a huge amount of money by the Nigerian government. And of course, in recent weeks, we've seen what the xenophobic, or what you can say the violence on foreign national shops has done, with further strains being caused between the two countries, Nigeria condemning the violence and also summoning the South African envoys to come and speak to President Muhammadu Buhari as well. And also, we saw also the President Cyril Ramaphosa also sending special envoys to the country to try and quell the tensions between those two countries.
Indeed, and of course, we saw Nigeria accepting South Africa's apology on the recent attacks.
Of course, when they began today, I mean, one of the things that was discussed when they made their opening remarks was the recent violence that we saw in previous weeks. And the Minister of International Relations saying that, South Africa still regrets those actions that happened there, and saying that, they are very pleased at the fact that, the Nigerian government has kind of sat down with them and listened, and also made some promises with regards to reprisal attacks that we saw in Nigeria. So the South African government really saying that, they have really pleased with the talks that they've had with the Nigerian government, and equally the Nigerian government saying that also they are pleased with the talks that they had, also saying that they appreciate the fact that the special envoys were sent by President Ramaphosa, and they say the fact that they were sent, they've managed to talk about issues, and they are looking forward to actually working together and fostering or bolstering even more ties between the two countries, and hoping that of course this violence will not repeat itself.
So one can safely say that the differences have been ironed out between the two countries.
Well, seemingly so, but that there could still be some sticking issues. We heard issues of compensation, for example, with the foreign minister of Nigeria, alluding to the fact that there might have to be a compensation made for those who are affected. But of course, we haven't heard what the position of South Africa will be, and we're not sure at this stage whether they will also form part of these talks that will take place. But definitely we do know that, this issue will need to be ironed out for these two countries. In fact, these two economic giants of Africa to work together in order to ensure that there is a trade and economic development in Africa.
Let's talk about the significance of this ministerial binational commission taking place a day before the state visit by Nigerian President Buhari.
Well, Balisa, this is simply to lay the groundwork for that state visit. So this is to look at those agreements and those memorandum of agreements that are currently in place between the two countries. It's about 32 of them that are there as we speak. So it's to look at them, what has been implemented, what has not been implemented, what still needs to be done. And of course, to also look at some of those future possible bilateral agreements that could be signed and what areas the two countries could again look to working into. So that was really to lay the ground for what is expected then to be the official signing and the official binational commission that will be chaired by both President Cyril Ramaphosa as well as the President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari.
All right, Manqoba, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for that update. All right, SABC News reporter Manqoba Mchunu attended the ministerial binational commission that took place in Pretoria. Of course, as we said, this happening a day before the official state visit by Nigerian president here in South Africa tomorrow.